So we're going to do a Class 47 run. This is the boat train scenario. It's a three-part scenario. We'll do the first part tonight. The first part is on the non-electrified lines into Carlisle, and then the next two parts take the scenario then south down to Preston with an 87. So yes, for this scenario we'll be driving the Class 47, which has had quite a lot of rework and upgrades done for the West Coast Mainline over Shap route. Sushi Dread and and Ruben Train Freak, welcome to the channel this evening. Good to see you. Lol, we get an absolute ton of requests. There's probably a little point funneling them through me, to be honest. Your best bet is to just email our support people and make your suggestions, or do them on our Facebook page, because the community team will then get them and forward them to the appropriate people in the brand team, who are the people that make those decisions. Anyway, here we go. This is Dumfries. Begin by collecting passengers. We'll depart for Annan and Carlisle at 3 o'clock. Enjoy the trip. Class 47 loco in the lovely Dumfries station. Hey there, Ariel. Welcome to the channel this evening. Oh, he did not just walk through a wall, but... Hello, who are you then? Right away, driver. Our next stop is Annan. Yes, Mama 2 for a I can't remember the Bristol to Exeter Paynton. That's it. Exeter to Paynton is the Dawlish route. Hear that shaking in the cab as you throttle up. That's awesome. So Annan is probably about halfway along the journey from Dumfries into Carlisle, and if you've got Western Lines of Scotland, then this part of the route is actually in Western Lines of Scotland. This is just the more modern version of it, so you'll see track differences and scenery differences as we go. No, Mama 2, there isn't. But I think there is a scenario where you have to drive very slowly because of all the damage that's being worked on, or something like that anyway. Oh yes, fire it up. God, this is a level crossing to do your train spotting at. Any more? Probably not. Anyway, enough silliness. Back to Thrash. Let's Thrash because we're getting too close to the speed limit. Wow, that's loud. Make a small application of the brake, get ourselves under the 70 for this speed limit that's coming up. Started going up a hill as well, so time to throttle up a bit and rescue the speed that's fallen away. Yes, Alex, that's how it goes. Thank you, by the way. Thank you very much. All your support is appreciated. How did you manage that, dog? What do you mean there, Rail Librarian? Oh, you mean the sounds where the AI trains can blow their horns and so forth? Yeah, I have been experimenting with ways of making that happen, but I've not really come up with anything I'm overly happy with at the moment. And I'm kind of busy on another project, so it doesn't really get much time to look at it. Personally, what I'd like to see is the appropriate rules being adhered to, so that you can see the other trains' headlights dim as they approach you as well. So we had a little brief tweak there with our scores, but because of overspeeding, but that's okay. Just under 7 miles now to get to Annan. I think I'll sit out here for a bit. There's deafening in that cab. Got another 70 limit coming up, but we're going downhill, so we might need a little extra time to get the train slowed down. Wind the throttle down. Now I can get back in the cab again. Okay, this slowed down. We're still going down. It's only 1 in 200, so it's not a big gradient. See you in a few, Alex. Mine's white and no sugars, thank you. Welcome back, Marcy. So we are due into Annan in 4 minutes, 4 and a bit minutes. We've got 3.5 miles to do. We're doing over 60 miles an hour, doing probably near 75 actually, so we should easily make it. Realised that dreaded mouse pointer is there. I have moved it. Realised I've still got my SD80 Mac background on. I need to take one other 47 as well to put behind this. I'll have to do that shortly. Maybe for the next time. Oh, hello, what's going on here then? We've just had a warning. Oh, possibly the speed decrease? Yes, the speed decrease down to 50 at the end of Annan. But we're stopping at Annan anyway, so that's not a big deal. Move the throttle to off, so that we don't speed. Speed limit's decreasing to 70, and then we need to get, anyway, we need to get down to stopping at Annan anyway, so we'll need to be doing more than that. Welcome, Tony Trains. Now we're getting warning of an amber signal, which means that the starter at Annan is red. Cheers, Lowell. See you later. Just pulling into Annan. That was the final warning of the red light at the end of the platform. Okay, that stopped at Annan. I think I'm quite pleased with that stop. Just right next to it, and we're 15 seconds early. Spot on. Another train coming in the distance there. Alright, well, we'll see you again soon then, Mama of Two. Welcome back, Novich. We've got a green light clearing us ahead. Just waiting for the passenger load to finish, and then we can get out of here. I've just moved the brakes back to minimum service. Right away, driver. Next stop is Carlisle. Proceed when the line section clears, which it has. So, perhaps see you later then, Speedy. So that would be the main reason we were held up a minute ago. The This is all single track section, and we were waiting for the train to come off in front of us. So next stop is Carlisle, but meanwhile our next waypoint is Eastrix, which is about 2.5 miles away. Just going through Eastrix. There's a temporary speed restriction at the Kirkwood Water Viaduct. Please be prepared to slow to 40 miles per hour. Okay, I have no idea where this water viaduct is, so I'm just going to drive carefully. Good evening, Mitchell. Oh, I'm jealous as well, Alex. Is there a way to change the weather on the fly? No, I'm afraid not. You can change the weather dynamically, but it has to be pre-scripted in advance. Nothing that I'm aware of, librarian. Yeah, nothing that I'm aware of now. It is pretty easy to set up your own weather patterns. I say easy, you need to edit blueprints, so it's not easy at all, really. But yes, you can set up your own weather blueprints. Ah, here we are, temporary speed restriction board. Hopefully it's given us plenty of notice, slowing down to 40. Yes, rail librarian. So there are a couple of things you can do. One of them is you can set up a weather blueprint, which basically says be sunny for 10 minutes, be cloudy for 10 minutes, and so on. And then the other option, you can set up what we call an extended weather blueprint. What that does is it basically says weather type 1 is this, weather type 2 is that, and then in the Lua script to controlling a scenario, you can in the Lua script controlling the scenario, you can losing my track of mind. Oh, I see. Yes, you can issue a command at various points, which means that to change the scenario, the weather. So what you can do is you can say when you pass a particular marker in the scenario, it suddenly starts to get raining. So if you've got Western Line to Scotland and you run an airline scenario, that's done with dynamic weather changing, scripted to happen at specific points. So it doesn't matter if I take 10 minutes to get there or 30 minutes to get there, it's when I get there that the weather will actually change. AWS not sounding on the outside, yes, I know that's something that bugs me as well. It is something that I'm continuing to campaign for. It's done for a particular reason. It's done because the feeling is that well, you wouldn't normally hear it outside, so why should you hear it outside in the sim? There you go. So I just had another one. To which my argument is, well, normally I wouldn't be flying 20 foot in the air to the side of the loco either. So So we've got a 40 limit coming up. We're just coming into Gretna Junction, which is the reason for the limit. This is where we swing round onto the main line. Of course, this is the West Coast main line. Nearly at Gretna Junction, where we'll join the main line. Basically, in fact, you can see the overhead wires appearing above in front of us. New image, yes. Yeah, there are rules for when you can when you're supposed to sound the horn. So essentially, when there's a whistle board, you see the signs with a W on them. You're supposed to sound the horn those. This is Gretna Junction and the West Coast main line. In a moment, we'll cross the River Sark and enter England. Okay, we're on the West Coast Main Line, and now it's time to get moving. If you mean the thing, sort of like a buzzing noise that comes on, and then this thing turns yellow, that is the safety system. It's not the same as the alerter. We call the alerter DSD, driver safety device, and it's not quite the same thing. So when I go over, let me fly ahead and find one. So on the tracks down here, keep an eye on my speed as we're accelerating. So we're so far away from the train we can't hear it now. Right, so when I go over this, it's linked to the next signal ahead, and what happens is that it says, it's basically a magnet. So as I go over it, I should hear a bell. Let's just turn that racket off for a minute. So this is a green signal, so that's a bell telling us that it's a green signal. If that signal was an amber signal, then you get a buzzer, which would then tell you that you need to react, and you need to react to it. So the bell you don't need to react to either, but the buzzer you need to press a button to acknowledge. If you don't acknowledge it, then all the brakes come on. HD Gaming, I think you'll find, if you've got the Duchess, I think that one's actually set up to work like that, and the A4 pack, the locos in there are set up to work like that as well, so the game can certainly do it. No, the track on the left and right are actually from the local Kingmore yard. So we're about to come to one of the, when it was certainly in the period around the western lines of Scotland, which is also on this route. Kingmore Yard was, I think, the largest rail yard in Europe. It's rather smaller these days, but it's still, yes, it is still very much a busy yard. So yes, this track will come off here and then squeak underneath us, and all the yard stuff is on the right. So if you keep an eye out on the right, you'll find Kingmore Yard, and then directly after it there's Kingmore TMD, which is the maintenance depot, traction maintenance depot. That's what it stands for. So there's that yard I was just talking about. I've got the other half of the yard here. Oh, AWS just went off. Get back in the cab in a minute. So got more of the yard here. And we got the more coming up here, and then the TMD a bit further down. Right, we're on the approach to Carlisle. So this is on the left is the former site of the steam maintenance depot, and on the right is the more modern diesel maintenance depot, diesel and electric depot. Yeah, there aren't too many yards to compare with Kingmore even these days. Certainly not in the UK. I think by European standards these days, with like the Marchen yard in Germany, that's a monster, an absolute monster. So I don't know if we've got anything to compare quite with that now. But for its time, when Kingmore was built, it was it was the largest in Europe, if I remember. So we're due into Carlisle, platform 1 at 15:42, and ETA is 15:38, so that's good. I'm running way below the speed limit at the moment, so no need to rush. We've managed to gain a load of time. I got a little bit panicky there. I wasn't sure I was going to make that speed limit. Dispatchers cleared us into platform 1. So if you've got Western Lines of Scotland, then everything down here is actually a yard. It's all gone. It's a crime, I tell you. Swing round over here. We've got the clear light in, and then come to a stop in the platform. And then looking at the instructions, we've got a couple more instructions to do to finish the scenario. Loads of time, so we can ease in nicely. So looking at the next instructions, we have to drop off the coaches, go to Carlisle South Gate 6 and then come back to Carlisle Siding A. Let's have a quick look at where all that goes on. So this is us. So Carlisle South Gate A is... There is... Oh, South Gate 6 is there. So we're going to pull forward to there and then we're going to come back to there. Okay, we're just going to pull alongside the coaches. That will then leave the coaches clear for the 87 in part 2 to come and pick them up and take them the rest of the journey down the West Coast Main Line. You absolutely should take a look at it, Rail Librarian. It's one of the things that I think a lot of people, they tend to think of only in the local areas, and there's actually, if you look in all the regions, there's something really nice about all of them. They're all quite unique. Have they addressed the clothing for people on platforms during winter seasons? It depends. The short answer is yes. So in TS14, there was a new feature added to the game whereby passengers could have different clothing based on the season. Oh, another train coming in, look. But this needs the route itself to actually be updated to support it. So if you run the London to Faversham, Donner Pass or Hamburg to Hanover routes, they've all been updated, so there are summer winter clothes for each of the characters. So those the ladies walking around in summer dresses want to have a summer dress and a coat on. Obviously if they've got a jacket on in the summer, then they keep the jacket on in the winter, so they don't change. So yes, short answer is yes, and all of our routes released since TS14's launch they're all got that same feature added as well. Older ones don't. So this one, for example, I don't think has the seasonal characters. Chris, depends on the spec of your laptop, really. If it's got Intel onboard graphics of any sort, then I probably would recommend against it. If you've got some sort of NVIDIA or Radeon, or if you are happy playing other games, then I don't see why it wouldn't work, to be honest. It's difficult on laptops because it's more likely to not work, I guess, than on a desktop, just because of the whole problem with Intel graphics adapters. We have seen it work on some Intel adapters, but generally speaking, the performance is significantly worse than on the NVIDIA or Radeon style adapters. So if you've got one of those, then you're more likely to be okay. Now's a good time to pick it up because it's only a £5 or thereabouts on Steam, because we're in the deep discount, so it's 85% off. So now is definitely a good time to give it a try. So we're sitting in Carlisle Platform 1 at the moment. We've just driven in from Dumfries, and we're just waiting for the passenger load and unload to finish, and then we will dispose of the loco. Yes, Dark, I mean, I'm playing on a laptop. This machine I'm running it on right now is a laptop, but it's a very high-spec gaming laptop, so I would expect it to work. Electric traction will now take over. Please uncouple your Class 47 and await further instruction. I can do that. Done. Good. Please move forward to the Gate 6 marker ahead and stop. So we're just moving forward to here. I couldn't tell you for sure, Chris, but that seems reasonable spec. I've not actually used anything of that hardware level, so I don't know what it's capable of, but generally I've found that AMD plus Radeon is a good combination, or at least a fair combination. What you might need to do is run it with there's a setting where you can turn off dynamic lighting, and if you have problems you can disable dynamic lighting, and that just to render the performance to be better, although the graphics quality won't be quite as good. In fact, it won't be significantly not as good because you won't have any of the real-time lighting effects. But you may not need to do that. It's difficult to know, to be honest. It's certainly not setting off any red alarms. Please reverse into siding A, where this part of the scenario will end. Remember to ask permission to enter the occupied siding by pressing Control Tab. So we change ends. Let's just check our path has been set. It has. Release the brakes. Why is it telling me denied? What's going on here? What's going on is I wasn't pressing Control Tab, I was pressing Tab. No, I'm in the same loco, Doug, but what I've done is I've switched ends, so I'm coming back in. So that's the coaches that I brought in earlier on. Yes, your RAM, Chris, is more than enough. So after all of our early arrivals, we're now going to end up being late into this siding because I was pressing the wrong button. Hold on, me. No, Librarian, I am running with the good old-fashioned keyboard. Come on, don't sting me for too many points for being late. I want at least my silver. Woohoo! I got positive points. I got a gold. Well done. Now you can proceed to part 2 and take controls of the Class 87 to continue the journey to Preston. Yes, I've got a rail driver, but I guess I'm on the fence with it. It's not bad, but I don't get on with the way the controls work. Maybe the newer ones are better, but I mean, my rail driver is from the original launch of the rail drivers when they first came out. Yes, scenarios generally are based on real train runs. They're generally taken from the real train timetables. So not always. Sometimes we need something a bit fictional to sort of come up with a particular example. But even then, the AI trains are quite often based on real trains. Right, 949. That's good. gold medal. That's a win. Right, one more. Let's do some Falmouth branch.